I'm Wesley from Universal Audio. I'm here at the LLB show in Sweden today, here to present this nice new little baby which is called the Apollo-16. This is our new interface which belongs to the Apollo family. So there's quite a big difference compared to the original Apollo. This basically has 16 inputs and 16 outputs, talking about analog, has AES, EBU, XLR, has monitor left and right via XLR. So basically it doubles your inputs and outputs compared to the first Apollo. The reason why we brought this out is basically for project or commercial studios who already have all their analog gear, their analog preamps, which don't need preamps, which don't need all the other connections. So you can basically just go in, line outputs into the Apollo 16, record or monitor directly through plugins without any latency. So it's a pretty fantastic interface. High-end converters, Firewire 800. There's the optional Thunderbolt cards, like on the other one. So for the connections, I'd say it's much more complete than the old Apollo. Some things have changed with the mixer. You can see here too. Obviously, this is the version 7, so we've reconfigured it a little bit. So you have the small faders which you can assign to auxiliaries or to different Q stereo mixes. As you can see here, you actually have 4 stereo Q mixes which you can assign to any analog output or any AES, or to the AES EBU output. The same thing as the old one, the one just before. You can record or monitor directly your plugins without any latency. When I'm talking about latency, to give you an example, with 4 plugins on one track, recording in 96 kilohertz, analog to analog, we're less than 1.1 milliseconds. If you record with more plugins, more tracks, still in 96 kilohertz, we're still sub 2 milliseconds of latency, analog to analog. So this is the only interface on the market today which can bring you that. So it's a 24-bit 192 kilohertz interface. You have your monitoring section, which is just here. You can listen to what you're feeding to the Q section, to the Q1, to the Q2, to the Q3, to the Q4. Basically, this makes you go fast for recording, fast for mixing. There's other details we have created for the mixer. We have now virtual IOs. So the virtual IOs allows you basically to come back out of your DAW, go back into the software mixer, use plugins, and this reduces latency. This can be called as digital summing, or if you use virtual synthesizers, instead of using a plugin on your Pro Tools, on your Live, on your Cubase, you can actually come back out of your DAW, go back into a virtual fader, use a plugin, and this will reduce your latency even more. So basically, this is what we wanted to bring to project and professional studios who don't need the all-in-one solution as the first Apollo we brought out. I think that's about it for the differences. It has MADI, obviously, so you can connect 2 interfaces together. So the MADI is used for combining 2 interfaces because it's the best way we found to connect digital audio together. So basically, if you use a second interface using MADI, you're going to double your IOs, so you're going to have 32 outs. So you can do a lot of things with that. As you can see, the interface, the software is very, very understandable, very easy to use. It's just extremely practical. The routing is very simple. It's automatically routed directly to your DAW, and then from your DAW you can route to obviously any analog output or AES output. You have 2 auxiliary returns which are here, and you have 2 auxiliary sends per channel, 1 and 2. So you can basically use it as a standalone effects unit if you like, because then you can route your auxiliaries out of any analog output. And all this is without latency. So this is the big part of the Apollo and the main part of the Apollo family.